They're Washington State Cougars at Friel Court. The Zags, the Cougs, it's up next. Well, they haven't produced energy like this at Friel Court in early December in a very, very long time. It's just indicative of the change in college basketball at Washington State. A Sweet 16 appearance a year ago, and now in the third year for head coach Tony Bennett. And again, a team that's going to make a lot of noise in the Pac-10, and now winners of 2 straight against Gonzaga. I'm Greg Heiser along with Craig Elo. And Craig, this has got to give you a lot of pride. You graduated from Washington State, a former star here. Washington State basketball is back on the map.
It is a thrill to see every seat in this building filled, and I tell you, the students are excited about this game. It's been anticipated for a long, long time.
And Gonzaga coach Mark Few knows how difficult and how important this game is. He called out the Cavalry this week. The old Zags, Casey Calvary, Matt Santangelo, Alex Hernandez, they all came back. Calvary played Aaron Baines at practice.
Yeah, Coach Few wanted them to simulate the slow-down game that the Washington State Cougars would play, but Josh Heupel got the best of it all because he had to guard Calvary, who acted like Aaron Baines. But Josh, the maturation of Josh this year is just unbelievable. Last year his numbers dropped off. This year you see where they're at. That's pretty amazing that he's averaging 15 points. But here's the best part about Josh Heupel is his senior leadership, getting guys to stay focused for the Zags.
And head coach Tony Bennett said this week at his press conference, so look, if Coach Few's going to do that, I'm going to put out the call for Brian Quinnett, James Donaldson, and where's Craig Elo? Well, he's right here.
Oh, I'm here, but my shoes are hung up. The only time they come out is when I play my 12-year-old in the driveway, but he's got a great, Coach Bennett's got a great center in Aaron Baines. This young man is one of the strongest centers on the West Coast. And then the reins go to Taylor Rochester. He's his floor general. Led the Pac-10 last year with the assist-to-turnover ratio of a 2.81. And David Harmeling, the last of Coach Dick Bennett's era of recruits, will bring the mental toughness that the Cougars have to have this year for them to be successful.
Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy this game tonight. This is Eastern Washington basketball. 2 programs now that have climbed to the elite in all of the country. It's number 4 Gonzaga and Washington State. Both have great young players and great veterans. It's going to be a wild one on the Palouse. We'll be back. All right. I like that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Greg Heiser and Craig Elo, we are courtside at Friel Court in Pullman, Washington. We're inside Beasley Coliseum for number 4 Gonzaga on the road against Washington State. And we take a look at the starting lineups now. First for Gonzaga, Pargo the senior, Bolden the junior, Down senior, Austin Day sophomore, and Josh Heupel out of Clarkston, Washington, now a senior. Head coach Mark Few, now in his 10th season as the head coach at Gonzaga. 20 overall, 10 years as an assistant there. And Coach Few now racking up a lot of wins, 3rd all-time now at Gonzaga. Washington State's starting lineup, Klay Thompson, the freshman. Craig Elo really likes this young man. Nikola Koprivica, the guard. Rochester, the senior guard. Aaron Baines, the senior forward. And there's Tony Bennett now in his 3rd season, and he's had tremendous success down here. 58-19, the coach of the year a year ago, went to the Sweet 16. Craig, it is safe to say that Washington State basketball is all the way back.
He's caused a real stir here. Not only is he a great coach in his X's and O's and what he does to prepare his team to be ready to play, he's cute. Those guys, these people love him here. That's it.
Okay. Well, I give you credit for that comment.
Oh, the girls at Nordstrom just love waiting on him when he comes in there to go shopping.
I'm sure they do. Now, back to more manly things. Here's Heupel and Baines with a tip-off. And Washington State controls. Here's the senior Rochester, guarded by Jeremy Pargo. And there's the freshman Thompson.
You're going to like Klay Thompson. He's got a real feel for the game. You never see him get out of what he can't do. He stays within his limits.
Thompson, quick shot, long. Rebound, Pargo. Gonzaga on the move. You're going to see Washington State take a shot and run to the other floor. They know Gonzaga can push the ball with the best of them.
And that's a matchup that we were talking about coming down, was Austin Day and David Harmeling, a senior against the sophomore.
Heupel, 3-ball from the corner. He grew up just down the road from Pullman at Clarkston. Grew up dreaming of Washington State, was a Cougar fan, and now playing for Gonzaga.
Well, he's shooting exceptional from three-point land this year, 50%. If you don't get the big guy out there on him, he will knock down the shot.
Koprivica inside to Baines. Can he finish? And the foul, a chance to tie it for Aaron Baines. Foul called on Micah Downs.
Well, anytime you have penetration, in which Nikolai Koprivica just had, he's going to draw more defenders to him, and when he reached around, there was no rotation from the weak side, or Micah Downs was just a little bit slow getting there. And if you let Aaron Baines shoot from that point, boy, you better foul him hard and not let him shoot it, because he'll go up with you and put you in the basket. Now, three-point play the old-fashioned way. So the two centers have 3 points.
Absolutely, and we're tied. The only way to stop Baines that low is to deny the ball. Don't let him ever catch it. He's going to go to the free throw line, or he'll finish from there. He's nearly a 70% shooter. Most of his shots come just a few feet away from the hoop. Pargo drives the baseline. Open to Downs, now Bolden. Another three, that's off. Loose, Baines, Day, Downs, tied up. Possession arrow favors Gonzaga.
Well, Washington State, hey, they're not a great offensive rebounding team. They're very opportunistic on the offensive end, but defensively, we'll send all 5 guys. They hardly ever give you second chance opportunities, and that'll be a big plus for Gonzaga tonight if they can get those.
Heidfeld jump shot, that's long. Clay Thompson with the rebound. Our officials tonight: Scott Thornley, Mike Littlewood, Bill Kennedy. Thornley, the referee. Greg Heister and Craig Elo were just underway, and Pullman tied at 3. Number 4 Gonzaga on the road against Washington State. A team that's holding opponents to 31.7% shooting. That's the #1 mark in the country. Block shot, loose. Day picked it up, and now he'll dribble. Left alone, drives. Koprivica knocked it away, and Day picked it back up. And now Pargo with it. Day not shooting well from 3. That one's off the front of the rim.
But Coach Few, I'm sure he's concerned, and he wants Austin to take good three-pointers. He is a good three-point shooter and usually has open shots because he's taller than his opponent. But that time was contested. He probably could have put the ball on the floor and got himself closer.
Day now 6 of 25 this season from behind the arc. That's under 25%. Harmeling, shot blocked by Day. 59 blocks as a freshman for Gonzaga.
Well, Gonzaga averages almost 7 blocks a game, so already 2 block shots against the Cougars.
And foul called here on Taylor Rochester, his first, team's first.
And if you talk about Gonzaga, what's made them good this year and got them into the top 5 rankings, well, it's their defense, and it's because they're out contesting shots. The 2 block shots you're talking about are out on the wing.
And that's easy off the inbound, a layup.
Yeah, a little miscommunication on switching on Washington State. Austin Day was the screener, and usually the screener gets open, and he was wide open for a point-blank layup.
Day into the books with 2 points. Koprivica drives, kick out. Thompson for 3. Bolden with the long rebound. Pargo on the wing. Washington State, though, back defensively. You won't get many transition points against the Tony Bennett team.
No, their transition defense is as good as anybody.
Oh! How about the lob from Pargo to Heidfeld?
That was a beautiful pick and roll, and Jeremy Pargo and Josh Heidfeld played together for a long time now. Pargo knew exactly where to throw the ball to Heidfeld, and he went above 2 Cougars to slam that through.
Rochester long on the 3 ball. Bolden with the rebound. Micah Downs short on his 3 attempt.
Well, you won't see the Cougars take a lot of early shots in the shot clock. Taylor had an open shot. That'd be Rochester. A little early for Tony Bennett and his staff. They want to make Gonzaga play a lot of defense, move from one side of the floor to the other.
Rochester driving, kick it out. Harmeling for 3, no good. Day with a rebound. Gonzaga leading 7-3 and looking to tack on more. Drives to the middle. Heidfeld sets the screen for Pargo, and now Josh shoots the 3. That's long off the back of the rim. Rochester runs it down, and he's fouled. Not a smart foul by Josh Heidfeld in the corner.
Yeah, that's a great point, Greg. Yeah, Josh thought he could get there, but Taylor had the angle. He got the ball.
Well, senior to senior, this is what 4 years of playing together will do for you. Pargo to Heitfeld. Gonzaga's up early. Gonzaga up early 7-3. We flash back now. The last time Gonzaga was here, December 5, 2006, it saw the Cougs rally from a 56-49 deficit with 11 minutes to play. They came all the way back and defeated Gonzaga 77-67. They've had success in the last few years against Gonzaga. They defeated the Zags in Spokane at the Kennel a year ago. 2 in a row.
2 in a row for the Cougs, but they'd suffered 7 in a row to Gonzaga, so trying to even things out here. But I tell you right now, both teams kind of filling each other out. I mean, both teams are 4-15 right now, but it makes sense because Washington State is #1 in the country in field goal percentage, defense field goal percentage, right at 31%, and GU's #5 in the country at 34%. So both teams imposing their defensive will on each other right now, take some tough shots along the perimeter.
Caleb Forrest, number 52, checking in for Washington State as Thompson hits his first bucket, and it's 7-5.
Well, there's not a lot of freedom in Washington State's offense to go one-on-one, but Klay Thompson possesses that one-on-one skill, so he has the green light to create some shots for himself like he just did.
Stephen Gray in there for Gonzaga. Double team coming on Day. Threw it away. And there you see the Washington State pressure.
It will drive you crazy sometimes. The double teams, the hard shows on the screens, the stringing out, and then constant pressure when you pick the ball up and making sure that the other guy that you're guarding, you're covering him too.
That's our first turnover of the game. Rochester just inside 3. Misses his second shot. Washington State now 2 of 9 shooting. Pargo blocked by Forrest. And now Rochester pushing the ball for the Cougs. And now Washington State will back it out. This is their offense. Very, very patient. They like to drain that clock. Baines backing in. Triple team came there. Thompson driving the middle. Tried to go to Baines, but Pargo there to deflect the ball.
Great rotation on Pargo's part. Taylor Rochester was out on around the 3-point line, but got back in the lane when he saw Thompson drive and was able to steal it.
Austin Day from 17. That's off. Austin now 1 of 4 shooting. Gonzaga 3 of 10 as a team. That's a good shot, just didn't drop.
Well, it's a high-energy game. I mean, we're in the Eastern Washington. Both teams have had success. Both have been going to the NCAA, so the intensity is what's causing a lot of these guys to miss shots. They'll settle down here in a minute, and both teams will start making it.
Rochester, little runner inside, no good. Heitfeld with a rebound. Rochester 0 for 3. Pargo, another lob. Heitfeld somehow got a hand on it, no foul. Rebound, Caleb Forrest. Popovica driving and draws the foul, either on Stephen Gray or Austin Day. This is on Stephen Gray, his first.
Well, if Aaron Baines is a bruiser in the middle, Washington State also has a banger in Nikola Popovica. He's a foreign player. He's from Belgrade, Serbia, right? He played for his U20 team this year, was the captain of that team that won over in the World Championships. Plays just like a European player. Loves to put the ball in the hole, draw the contact, and see if he can get to the line.
Gonzaga now with 3 team fouls as Ira Brown and Robert Sacre check in. D'Angelo Casto, the freshman out of Spokane, played at Ferris High School, checking in for Washington State. And I know a lot of eyes will be on this young man. Popovica hits the free throw.
Another ploy by Washington State to slow you down. Substitute after the guy shoots the second free throw for the shooter. Then they got to wait, have him come in. Slows the offensive team down from any transition baskets.
Been over 3 minutes now for Gonzaga without a field goal, and that'll end the drought. Downs drops it in from 20 feet out, and it's 10-6.
Well, again, penetration. Pargo coming off of a high screen, draws the defense just a little bit. You can't leave shooters like Micah Downs out there, though, because he'll drain those all night on you.
Thompson to the middle. Deflected away. Rochester runs it down and again misses. Rochester now 1 out of his last 14 attempts going back to the game against Baylor. So he's in a bit of a cold spell, Craig.
Yeah, we were down at practice yesterday watching Taylor Rochester take a few extra shots. This is a young man that really wants to do well, and shooting has been bothering him, but he'll calm down. He's got a grip on it. He'll continue to shoot shots like he just did.
And you see his reaction there as that one drops through. He's been waiting for that. 10-8. And a foul call.
D'Angelo and Robert Sacre banging each other down there. D'Angelo losing the battle.
Rochester's shot drops, but watch the reaction. He's like, finally, it's 10-8 in Pullman.
Breaks. The most important.
10-8 Gonzaga. And so far, neither team shooting the ball well. Gonzaga 4 for 13. Washington State 3 of 12. Talk more now on Taylor Rochester. He's struggling in the early part of this season shooting. This is a kid who can really shoot the ball. What have you seen, Craig?
Well, I saw him practicing yesterday shots, around the perimeter, which he's very capable of making. I think right now he's probably just rushing himself and probably not getting the shots that he wants to take. I saw a comment also where he said, well, like 50% of my shots are when the shot clock's running down. So that means I'm not taking high percentage shots. So I think he's trying to look a little too aggressively for his shot. Just let it come with the flow of the offense and you'll get out of those slumps.
And you saw a minute ago that graphic, how important he is to the offense. As Downs drops in another 3 for Gonzaga.
Talk about
Taylor Rochester scores 16 points or more. Washington State is 12-0. He's key to this offense. They need his points.
He really is. He has the ability to take big shots and make big shots and loves it from anywhere on the floor, if it's driving to the basket or long-range shots.
Downs now with 6 points. Gonzaga leading by 5. Marcus Capers, the freshman in there. Foul called on Dimitri Goodson for Gonzaga, also a freshman. Capers out of Florida, Goodson out of Texas. So 2 young men coming from warm states to play up here in the cold in the inland Northwest.
Yeah, I hope they brought their warm jackets. If they have them, that is. Boy, not a good out of bounds by Washington State on that particular possession. Really nowhere to throw the ball. And if I'm going to throw it anywhere, I'm not going to throw it towards Gonzaga's basket. I want to throw it this way towards your own basket.
Better job that time to Forrest, and now Harmeling. Forrest, high post over Ira Brown, and he's fouled, and a chance for 3 for Caleb Forrest.
Let me tell you about Caleb Forrest. He's not spectacular. He's not flashy. I mean, look how scruffy he is. He looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. But he gets the job done. He's my kind of player. I like him. I mean, he's got a mid-range game that you got to respect because he's got a really good shot. And he hardly makes mistakes out there on the floor, and that's why Coach Bennett loves playing him.
I don't remember you as being a scruffy type. I kind of likened you to like Kelly Tripucka. The hair was always in place, Elo. You had that short mullet going.
Yeah, the mullet, me and Billy Ray Cyrus definitely had something in common.
13-11 our score. There's Goodson. And now a foul inside away from the ball. This is on Micah Downs. And that's his first.
Well, that possession, Gonzaga trying to run some offense. Their familiar flex that you all know about. Micah Downs on the baseline trying to set a screen for Dimitri. Tried to step into Marcus Capers, and you can't do that. You got to stand still when you set screens.
So Downs goes to the bench, replaced by Matt Bolden. Gonzaga now with, we have it out here on the table, as 5 team fouls. That graphic just had him at 6. And now I'm counting 6, so I believe that our stats here at the table are wrong. Gonzaga with 16 fouls, so 1 more in Washington State's in the bonus, and there's Castro. And Washington State has tied it at 13. Heitfeld, double team. Backs it out, deflected by Castro. Out of bounds, it'll stay with Gonzaga. But there you see the defensive prowess that this freshman from Ferris High School brings to Washington State.
Yeah, he's very, very quick, cat quick, matter of fact, and loves to play defense. He's high energy, high intensity, and I tell you what, at Spokane Ferris High School, the young man was the defensive stopper for that team that never lost a high school game and won 2 state championships for Coach Don Van Lerp in Spokane.
Washington State on a 5-0 run. This is Stephen Gray. Close to Heitfeld now with the ball, double team, offensive foul on Josh Heitfeld.
That was an easy play for D'Angelo Castro because he knows in Washington State's defensive scheme, they're going to double team. Watch him jump to the baseline side, knowing that his help's coming from the top side. Just anticipates the play well. Josh was a little frustrated from the time before where he had to dribble out of the double team.
And Heitfeld with 2 personals will go to the bench. That's 7 team fouls now on Gonzaga. And we're tied at 13. This is a crucial moment here in the early going of this game.
Well, Washington State's chances are really good when the score's where it's at right now. 13-13 with 10 minutes gone in the first half. If they can keep this pace, they give themselves a very good chance against the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who are ranked number 4 in the country. Should I remind you of that?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what that little graphic says down there on the screen. Number 4.
4. I'm glad I see it now.
Rochester driving off the glass, and that falls. That was a beautiful shot by Taylor Rochester. Great touch. And now Bolden will try to go to work for Gonzaga. Day to Gray. Gray will drive with the left hand, stop and now look to give it up. Needs help, got it to Bolden. Austin Day out on top. Drives and shoots over Forrest. Rebound, Popravica.
Tell you, Washington State not allowing any extra chances for Gonzaga, which is usually, something they do very well.
Forrest drives, and he's fouled by Sacre or Day. Washington State started shooting or hitting just 2 of their first 11 shots. Since then, they've made 4 straight.
I think they've calmed down, and they've started to run offense, and that's what they do well, is when they move the ball from one side of the floor to the other side of the floor and then back to one side. That's patience and poise that you can't teach. I mean, that's what you want your team to do to make the defense play. But that time, you youngsters, if y'all saw what Caleb Forrest did right there, shot fake. Shot fake. Look at the Forrest in the stand. Oh, these students, they're great. Look at them, all out in their crimson. But yeah, shot fake. Got his man up in the air and then put it on the floor and went to the hole, and now made both free throws for the Cougars, who lead now 17-13.
And Mark Few bringing his senior point guard Jeremy Pargo back into the game. Washington State on a bit of a run since he went to the bench. And now a foul away from the ball. This will be on Washington State.
Now, when we were driving down today from Spokane to Pullman, which is 78 miles, we had plenty of time to talk, right?
Yes.
And what did we talk about? We said Gonzaga's got some good wins on the road against Oklahoma State, Maryland, Tennessee, but all on neutral courts. This is actually their first road game in a hostile environment.
Last foul on David Hummerling. His first. Day trying to pump fake Forrest. Goes to the baseline. And Casto there. Looked like a clean block, but a foul is called. And they give it to Caleb Forrest. May have gotten him with the body.
Well, Gonzaga needing a basket. Who do they go to? Their go-to man, Austin Day. They get him on a post, and he steps out, bringing Caleb Forrest out. The help a little late on D'Angelo's part, and now you got one of the best free throw shooters in the country shooting a couple of shots.
Forrest picks up his first personal. That's 4 now on Washington State. Austin Day not shooting free throws like he did a year ago. In fact, this entire Gonzaga team shooting just 65%. We have not seen numbers that low in the entire Mark Few era.
No, and usually when you're a top 5 team in the country, you're usually doing a lot of things right. And right now the Zags are not shooting free throws that well, but you should see them pick that up.
Popravica to Harmelin, free ball, no good. Sacre had it, and now D'Angelo Castro picks it up for Washington State. New shot clock. And this is where they made their money a year ago. Rochester from the corner missed it. Sacre with the rebound.
Yeah, Robert Sacre for the Zags. He hadn't had a lot of playing time, only 8 minutes a game, but when he's out there, Coach Few gets valuable minutes out of him on the defensive end and rebounding.
Day driving to the middle. Great catch by Sacre. And now the whistle. We cannot hear the whistles. And a foul called on Caleb Forrest. So he picks up 2 quick ones here. And that's 5 on Washington State with 8:12 to play in the first half.
Well, just like I talked about Sacre not playing a lot of minutes, Caleb Forrest doesn't play a lot of minutes, only 14.9 for the Cougars. Hey, he's got 5 fouls. He can use them up.
And Aaron Baines replaces him. Actually, no, Baines is just into the game. Forrest stays there. There's Pargo backing down Rochester. He spins off the glass. You got to think that plays there all day for Jeremy Pargo.
Yeah, and I don't understand why the Cougars, I mean, Pargo is one of the best post-up players for a guard at a point guard position. You better double team him. If he's dribbled, what, 4 or 5 times, I better send a double team to help Taylor Rochester out.
Baines posting up, and now foul inside. And this will be on Robert Sacre, I believe. Actually, no. Yes, Sacre does pick up the first personal foul. We'll take a timeout. D'Angelo Castro out of Ferris High School. Some early work for Washington State. We've got quite a game in Pullman. And welcome back. Very happy crowd to this point in Pullman. Their Washington State Cougars are tied with number 4 Gonzaga, 17-17. Bench points have been huge for Washington State to this point. D'Angelo Castro, as we watch him, what a great player he was at Ferris. Brings a lot of energy and athleticism to the game, Chris.
And he fits the defensive mold here for Coach Bennett very well. And 2 championships in the 4A. Now, he played a big role in that one championship game with 8 block shots on the defensive end. He didn't have to do much offensively, even though you saw him dunk it a few times, because he had Sean Stockton, he had Jared Carstetter, he had Jeff Minnerly. He had a whole host of guys that could score the basketball for Coach Don Van Leurp's team, who, by the way, in those 2 years went 58-0. That's impressive. That's,
you know, Castro reminds me of a young Ronny Turia.
Sure, he's got the energy level.
Same size. It comes in, all of a sudden the roof on the building almost explodes off. There's a lot of energy. And then he's great on the defensive end, which is where Ronny made his money early on at Gonzaga.
And the offense came later on, and that hopefully that'll happen for D'Angelo. That's a great comparison. I like that.
Baines at the free throw line, following a foul on Robert Sacre right before break there. That's 9 team fouls on Gonzaga, 1 on Sacre. He was on the bench for Gonzaga. Ira Brown in there for Mark Few. Back to a 2-point lead for Washington State.
Well, Gonzaga was in a similar game against Indiana in the first half back in Indianapolis. They had to really grind it out. We'll see if they have the poise and the composure with the Cougs leading by 2 to continue to work the offense.
10 on the shot clock. Day wanting it. Turns on Castro, drives to the middle. Brown had it, picked up by Thompson. Washington State basketball. Well, one thing's for sure, you're not going to come to Pullman and play this Washington State team who's so good defensively. You're never going to beat them if you're not a composed basketball team. No, composure is the absolute one needed necessity to win down here.
Yeah, you got to have it, because it'll be frustrating, especially if you're a team that scores 80 points like the Zags. I mean, it's got to be really frustrating to not do what you normally do, and the other team kind of dictating what you do. And I love what Coach Few said. There's no battle of wills. Either both teams play fast or both teams play slow. It's a delicious contrast in styles. But you know what, Coach Few, he prepares his teams as well as anybody in the country. And watching their practice the last couple of days, he had them playing this slow-down game.
Micah Downs back into the game now for Gonzaga, playing with 2 personal fouls. He and Heitfeld. There's Castro, and there's Downs with his 3rd. So Micah Downs is into the game for about 4 seconds, and he picks up his 3rd personal foul. And he'll go right back to the bench.
That is a horrible thing for Micah Downs, because Micah Downs is playing very well for the Zags. He's one of the best shooters out there for them and can score a variety of ways, and you're taking one of the weapons that's helped Gonzaga get to the top 4 in the country out of the game right now.
So Mark Few in the face of some foul trouble here in the first half for Gonzaga. Both Heitfeld with 2 personal fouls, and now Micah Downs with 3 personal fouls. 2 of his starters are on the bench for significant minutes in the first 20.
But, you know, I like what Micah Downs did. He sacrificed his 3rd foul to not give up a layup to D'Angelo Castro. He made him earn them at the free throw line. And if I was in Micah Downs' shoes, I would have done the same thing, even though it meant picking up his 3rd foul.
Pargo spins to the middle, shot away, and drops it through. Boy, it's been fun to watch him grow over the years, Craig.
Oh, he's just so strong, and he just has such a passion for the game. You just got to love what you see from Jeremy Pargo.
Koprivica along on the jumper, Castro with the rebound. Well, new shot clock.
With long shots come what? Long rebounds. So Austin Day went to the rim that time. Should have stayed and blocked out D'Angelo, and then he would have got himself a rebound.
Klay Thompson called for the travel. The pivot foot slid. That is the just the 2nd turnover for Washington State in this game. Gonzaga with just 3. So this has been a really nicely played first half by both teams. Not a lot of mistakes other than the fouls.
Well, both teams value the possession of the ball and know what each possession means in a low possession game.
Bolden, no call. Koprivica or Castro with the block. Both players were there. Thompson off the screen. Bolden with the long rebound. Day fakes the 3, drives, traveled. There's the whistle. Two-point Cougar lead. Harmeling coming back into the game for Tony Bennett.
And right now, again, you know, it's got to favor Washington State, but it's making a lot of problems for Austin Day. First 4 games, he was fantastic. Remember that opening game, double-double again?
Well, I think
all of a sudden it slowed down for him.
There's been so much talk and so much written about Austin Day. People fail to realize that he's still a sophomore. He's still very, very young in his basketball development. And every game he's going to get better. Even if his numbers don't say so. You'll learn a lot every game that you play. That's the hope anyways. Ira Brown trying to take Austin Baines out of the game as Rochester with 3 on the clock fires a 3. And now a foul inside on Ira Brown.
And Coach Few has gone to his lineup with a smaller team out there. Ira Brown actually playing center against Aaron Baines, and I don't mind that matchup. Ira Brown's what? 6'4", 235. Aaron Baines is 6'10", 6'11", they say, at 250 pounds. So Ira's down there banging with him. And we've already talked about how strong Aaron Baines is. I think he was a little shy about his, what do you say, he benched 125 pounds?
No, he said today that around 290.
290. Oh, okay. He looks like he could bench a lot more than that.
Well, Washington State's last 6 points coming from the free throw line. And they have that 2-point lead. Make it the last 7 points. And it's a 3-point lead. And right now, if you project this out, we're looking at a game in the low 50s, which plays right into Washington State's wheelhouse. They want to keep it close and give themselves a chance to win it at the end. Day, open 3, good. That's a big shot for the Zags. And we're tied at 22.
Well, the Zags can't get away from their game plan, and their game plan is they run good offense. They have good offensive sets. They can't break down and go one-on-one. That time you saw a little bit of penetration and good ball movement getting the ball to the open shooter at Austin Day.
And now Washington State moving the ball around, trying to go to Baines, but Ira Brown gives up a lot of size, but not strength. To Baines. Capers misses from the wing. And now Gonzaga with a chance to take the lead. The lob to Gray. Too high, too far. Turnover.
And you don't go for the home run when you need a basketball. That time Pargo trying to go for the home run. Overthrew Stephen Gray. Tie ball game.
And welcome back. We're tied at 22 in Pullman between Gonzaga and Washington State. Been a story of bench points for Washington State. Been a story of not very good shooting by both teams. Now, we talked to head coach Tony Bennett prior to the game tonight, and he talked about playing such great competition in this non-conference schedule.
We've got good moments, and I think you see at times where we're weak and where we're lacking and miss some of those seniors, but that's all part of it. And the reason why you play teams like Gonzaga and Pitt and Baylor, Mississippi State are to really find out, okay, where do we have to get better at? What things can we count on? And we've learned a lot about ourselves, and it's really in preparation for our conference.
And that conference schedule will be coming up here very shortly for Washington State, picked to finish number 6 in the Pac-10, but behind Washington, Arizona, USC, Arizona State, and UCLA there at the top. And I think this is a Washington State team that's only going to get better. They have 9 freshmen, 2 redshirt freshmen, 7 true freshmen as a part of this program with these great veterans, so they could get a lot better. Here's a turnover. Day, the open 3, that's long. Tipped out by Brown, out of bounds. It should go to Washington State. And to conclude what I was saying now, Washington State has played ranked teams now in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. They are going to be ready when that Pac-10 schedule starts.
Yeah, you know, you play a team like Pittsburgh, who was number 4 at the time, and I tell you, they had a chance to win that one. Oh, another turnover.
And Pargo with it for Gonzaga. He's got Gray and Brown. Pargo with the finish, the lay-in, and Gonzaga back in front.
One characteristic of Washington State Cougars, turning the basketball over the last 2 times. I tell you what, they got to get better at handling the ball. But yeah, they played Pitt, they played Gonzaga now at number 4. The Baylor was ranked 24th. Mississippi State was a tough concert. They still go to LSU on the 27th and then start, like you said, Pac-10 play against top team, 20 teams. So it's one of the toughest non-conference schedules the school's ever had.
Blocking foul called there on Jeremy Pargo. That's 10 now on Gonzaga. So Washington State in the double bonus for the final 3 minutes plus here in the first half. And Rochester drops in the first free throw. He's 17 of 18 coming into this game, so now 18 of 19. He's over 95% on the season.
That's what I was saying. It's amazing. You can be shooting really bad, you know, at your field goal, but boy, when free throws are right, I feel good about myself, and I'm sure that's what Taylor's thinking.
Take your points any way you can get them, right, Craig?
If you can manufacture them at the free throw line, no better place to do it, especially if you're a 95% free throw shooter.
Thompson on Gray. Brown sets the screen. Gray 3 ball good. Oh. That rattled through. Stephen Gray off to a slow start this season shooting for Gonzaga, but starting to show signs of coming out of it.
Yeah, I tell you what's good about Stephen Gray is if the other guys are off, all of a sudden Stephen Gray's on. So that was good to see him take that shot. Coming off, Brand went behind the screen. He made him pay for it.
Stephen's first points of the game. And Gonzaga leading it by 3. Rochester faked the 3. Got it to Thompson, driving right to the rim. No whistle, ball still loose, what about 50 feet in the air? Baines with it, lost it out of bounds, and it goes to Gonzaga. Wow, did you see some horses at the rim on that possession?
Oh my gosh, they all went above the rim. Watch how high this ball goes. Great play by Klay Thompson to go in strong.
How high that ball went out of the frame.
And then Aaron Baines gets it and puts it on the floor. He should have never taken it down to the floor, because when he did, Matt Bolden did what he was supposed to, come down there and slap it away.
Under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Gonzaga leading Washington State by 3. Pargo on Rochester, the senior point guards. 8 on the shot clock, and Pargo with a deep 3 off the front of the rim. Baines with the rebound for Washington State.
Probably not a shot you want to see Jeremy Pargo take.
He had time for a pass, certainly.
Yeah, but it's probably a shot that a guy like him can make.
Harmeling ties the game at 27. Boy, was he ready to shoot when that ball was halfway to him. He's got a great stroke, Craig.
He's an excellent three-point shooter. The guy's been shooting three-pointers. Last year, he shot him with a broken thumb.
And Stephen Gray answers at the other end. He's hit his last 2 from behind the arc. He's got 6.
That's what makes the Zags so tough. I'm telling you, Micah Downs sitting on the bench with 3 fouls, but you bring in who? Stephen Gray, who's got just as much ability to score the basketball as does Micah Downs.
And we've had, 12 points scored in the last few seconds here. As Rochester fires another three, that's short. Pargo runs it down. And now we're nearing the 42nd mark of the first half.
You know, you're probably thinking, why Taylor Rochester take that? 2 for 1. They get the ball back at the end of the half. They might have given up a possession, but they played defense like they always do.
Day driving right by Harmelin. And there you see the potential of Austin Day at 6'10", able to put the ball on the floor, a little shake and bake, and beat a very quick David Harmelin.
No kidding. I mean, David Harmelin's a redshirt senior, 5th-year senior. Usually doesn't get beat like that. He's the tough defender out there for the Cougars, but that time Austin Day did everything you just talked about. He is so good. If you don't get up on him, he'll shoot right over you. So he's got, you know, 2 kinds of weapons to use there. And if you come up on him, he has the ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim.
Gonzaga on an 8-3 run. They lead it by 5. This is their largest lead since they led 7-3 in the early going.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the head and shoulders fake? I didn't see that. I thought he just got to David.
The little shake and bake.
Shake and bake got David frozen there.
Well, be sure to stay with us at halftime on FSN. We'll go back to the studio with Angie Metnick and Francis Williams on KHQ. We'll get you all caught up on your local news with Dan Kleckner and Stephanie Vigil. That's coming up at the half.
Can't wait.
Be honest, Craig. You're just ready for the hot dog.
Hot dog and vault.
At halftime. And the energy drink. You need an energy drink.
No, you don't need energy in this building tonight.
Oh, I guess
you
not.
can feed off with the intensity of the game.
Dimitri Goodson will finish the half at point guard for Gonzaga. Jeremy Pargo to the bench. And now Washington State will play for 1. You can hear the crowd counting down to time. Thompson inside, throws up a shot and hits it with 2 seconds to play. And that'll do it. We've got a 3-point game at half in Pullman. Washington State 8 of 25 shooting. Gonzaga finished the half really strong shooting. They were well below 35% for most of that first half. They finished 12 of 26 for 46%. And those percentages coming in were huge when you talk about defensive percentages and 2 of the best teams in the country. And now Gonzaga at 46, they lead it by 3. That's the difference in the game.
Yeah, both teams not used to having a team shoot better than 30%. But right now, they heated it up right there before half.
Gonzaga, they hit 4 of their final 5 shots in that first half, and they lead it after the first 20. 32-29, number 4 Gonzaga, and the upstart Washington State Cougars. Halftime straight ahead. Games, we're about to begin the second half. Craig, looking at some of the numbers as you look at home at the leading scores, first for Gonzaga and then Washington State. GU started shooting 3 of 11 and then 9 of 15. So they didn't shoot well, and then they did. Did they figure something out?
Well, when you play Washington State, you got to make Washington State, they're good on defense. You got to make them play defense. Move the ball from one side of the floor to the other. Work the ball around. Gonzaga is a very good offensive team because they can run and score, but they also are good in their offensive sets. So they made defense play a little bit more, and they didn't rush their shots. And I think when they quit rushing them and getting them out of the flow of the offense, that's why the percentage went up to 60%.
Heidfeld with a jump shot. Koprivica with the rebound.
And like you mentioned before, WSU had an 8:37 stretch in the first half where they didn't score a field goal. All their points came from the free throw line. That is what kept Washington State only 3 points down at halftime.
Baines inside, beats Heidfeld, who's got 2 personal fouls.
That's another stat you can watch too. Baines only had 1 field goal in the first half.
Pargo inside and able to finish. Boy, he's one of the best, if not the best point guard in the country at doing just that.
Just getting to the rim and finishing, finding some way to get the ball in the hole when he gets to the rim.
Thompson missed it. Day with a rebound. Gonzaga with 3 players on the court, or 2 players on the court in foul trouble. Here's the lob. Heidfeld wide open. The one trip this game where Washington State did not beat Gonzaga back defensively, and they give up the lob dunk.
Yeah, and we've seen Josh Heidfeld do that year after year. He's the big man that can run. He usually wins that race. 10-second call.
How about that? Turnovers. We take another look.
Yeah, see,
Pargo to Heitfeld for the second time this game.
Aaron Baines was behind, and usually there's a miscommunication on defense. If Baines is back there, he's usually telling David or someone else to take the big guy, so there was no communication that time.
Micah Downs playing with 3 personal fouls for Gonzaga. 2 for Heitfeld. Ira Brown on the bench with 2 for Gonzaga as well. Caleb Forrest with 2 for Washington State. Pargo to Downs. Pargo into the corner, 3 ball, good, drops it through. And now you can see this fluid offense of Gonzaga starting to work now. They closed out that first half, hitting 4 of their first 5. And this half, they've got off to a tremendous start. They lead by 8, their largest lead of the game.
Yeah, this is what I've seen from Gonzaga this whole year, is that they've let teams kind of hang around, and then all of a sudden they give you 1-2 punch.
And the turnover. Another. Pargo, another lob. Dang, he finishes. And just like that, Gonzaga's lead has grown to 10. They open the second half, hitting 4 of their first 5. They're on a 14-4 run. They lead Washington State by 10.
Well, they've gotten Washington State into a much hectic pace, and it's paid off for them with 4 straight baskets.
Washington State will answer when we come back. Well, Gonzaga has opened the second half, hitting 4 out of their first 5 shots. Jeremy Pargo has 5 points in that run, 11 for the game, 7 assists, 2 rebounds. He's doing it all so far in his senior campaign for Gonzaga.
Look at that, just a little skip to my move to the basket. This time feeds a teammate for running the floor well. And this is something that's always talked about. Can Jeremy Pargo make outside shots? And I think he can. He's shooting right now 35% from three-point land and 44% from the field.
Washington State basketball. Jeremy Pargo picked up that personal foul when we were into those highlights. He now has 3, and he stays in the game for Mark Few. So Downs, Pargo, and Heitfeld all in foul trouble for Gonzaga. 2 for Heitfeld, 3 for Downs and Pargo. Could play into this game down the stretch. Thompson, jump shot, short. Downs with the rebound for Gonzaga.
I think Washington State missed a big opportunity. Jeremy Pargo picks up his 3rd foul. Why not isolate him on the wing and try to get him out of the ballgame, because he's the one making all the killing for Gonzaga to start this second half.
Heitfeld wanting the ball inside as Downs drives to the middle. Got it back to Pargo with 10 on the shot clock. 5 on the shot clock. Baines out there, got it to Heitfeld. Heitfeld drives to the baseline. Jumper off the side of the glass. Rebound Rochester. Great defense by Washington State. Give it to Gonzaga. Strange shot there by Rochester. Drove inside, and I'm not sure he wanted to shoot it. In the last minute tried to throw it to somebody.
Well, I think there was good defense rotation. I think Micah came over and actually got a hand on it, but it went right back to Taylor, and he was trying to knock it to a teammate, but there was no teammate in sight.
Stephen Gray coming into the game for Gonzaga. Micah Downs goes out as we take a look at what Rochester just did.
Oh, no, Pargo ball.
Pargo did get a hand on it. I could not see that from my vantage point. Last 5 WSU possessions, 2 turnovers, and 0 for 3 shooting.
And how about the damage Pargo did in 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes, to get his team up by 10 coming out of the second half.
Stephen Gray short on the 3. Thompson with the rebound for the Cougs.
I've always been a big believer when you come out of halftime and the game's close, the first 3 minutes of the second half, if you can set the tone for your team then, boy, that gets you off to a good start.
Caleb Forrest with a fake, now at the free throw line, got it to Popovica. Lined up the 3 and missed it. Bolden with the loose ball. Bolden driving, left hand. They'll go to the free throw line. Matt Bolden yet to score a point for Gonzaga. 0 for 2 shooting, 4 rebounds. He's 0 for 13 in his career in games against Washington State.
He had a guy named Kyle Weaver that guarded him, though.
Right, last year.
Last year. And it's hard to guard or hard to score on a guy that's, you know, the length of Kyle Weaver and the tenacity that he possesses on defense. He takes a lot of pride Yeah, Bolden had that matchup.
But the point I was making about Matt Bolden is that he hasn't done a whole lot for Gonzaga offensively, but he adds the 4 rebounds, and he has become an important part of Gonzaga's offense, even though he doesn't score a lot, averaging 10 points a game.
And if you got a critique of Matt Bolden, people would say he disappears. There's no consistency there, but he picks up the other things in his game when you just like what you mentioned, the rebounds, the assists, and even getting, a few things on defensive end, getting in a passing lane or deflections. Man, he does other things than just has to score for this team.
Gonzaga on an 11-0 run and has completely taken this crowd out of the game. It's very quiet now at Freel Court. Harmelin long on the shot, Bolden with the rebound. So Washington State just having all kinds of trouble offensively. And look at Josh Heitfeld run the floor, beating Aaron Baines to the basket.
That's the beauty of Josh Heitfeld. Being 6'11", he can just about outrun any big man in the country, and he's got to get rewarded for making that kind of a work for himself.
And the turnover there by the freshman, Klay Thompson. Threw it out of bounds. It's a 14-point game. Moments ago, it was a 3-point game at the half. As we take a look at Matt Bolden, make eye contact with Josh Heitfeld at 6'11". He can catch it and finish. Gonzaga leading by 14. This floor, it was their first non-conference home loss since December 7th of 2004 when Gonzaga and Roni Turioff got them here. 54-52 the final. Washington State with a chance to at least tie it, maybe win it there at the end of the game, and they couldn't do it. Gonzaga won it 54-52. Washington State, point is, the Cougs don't lose on this court too often, in this era or any other. This has always been a tough place to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard place to get to, first of all. You got to fly into Spokane and then come down on a 78-mile bus ride, right? And then there's not a lot of hotels down here, so a lot of disruptions in your normal pattern of what your routine you're used to.
Heitfeld with 6 points in the second half. Baines picks up the ball and count the basket.
Yeah, Heitfeld went for the block, took his hand through the rim. Even though he didn't touch the ball, he touched the rim, and that's offensive goaltending. And I got to believe the Cougars have got to do more of that. Aaron Baines has to touch the ball almost every time down the floor. You got to go inside to him. He's a force, and you got to draw some fouls on Josh Heitfeld to try to get him out. That's what the Cougars need to do.
Day fires the three and rattles it through. That goaltending a minute ago ended a 15-0 run by Gonzaga, dating back to the final minutes of that first half. And it's out to a 17-point lead. Gonzaga has absolutely exploded here to open the second 20 minutes. Here's Bolden on the move. Left it for Dimitri Goodson. And now we'll set it up. Trying to get around the double team. Into the corner to Bolden. Harmeling there. Now Heitfeld with 3. That one was halfway down. Came out. Tipped away by Gray. It'll stay with Washington State.
Well, if you see Washington State's defense on all pick and rolls, the center will always show hard, try to string the point guard out to midcourt. Well, with Josh Heitfeld, he can pick and pop, or the first time we saw him, he went to the rim, right? This time, he's picking and popping, and no one's getting up to him, and he's getting open looks at the basket.
This Washington State defense, #1 in the nation in team defense and shooting percentage. Opponents shoot 31.7% in the first 8 games against Washington State this season. How has Gonzaga gotten that nearly to 50% in this game, Craig?
Well, again, they're a great shooting team. I think, overall 48% for the year. They make a lot of shots of, high quality.
Casto inside, missed it. Got Heitfeld into the air. Did a great job. Ball just didn't fall. Bolden fires, and it's good.
That was good patience on Matt Bolden's part, even though I think probably it's not in his mind what he's shooting against the Cougs in his career. He looked very good. He had a mismatch with David Harmeling. Harmeling backed off of him. Matt made him pay. Boy, these Cougars are just falling apart.
Turnover. Goodson there on the defense. Bolden may have gotten away with a carry there. Heitfeld with the finish. And the foul inside.
Well, I can definitely say that the tide has turned in favor of Gonzaga with the pace of the game. Washington State not used to that. Find themselves down 20 points, 21 points now.
Heitfeld now with 13 points. Make it 14. Well, the one thing's for sure, I did not see this happening when they came out of the locker room. I know Gonzaga ended that first half playing really nicely, but to be all of a sudden up by this margin, I mean, Washington State has scored, what, just 4 points?
Yeah, and it's all because of turnovers. Gonzaga's turned up the heat on defense, causing the Cougars to turn the ball over, and those turnovers, again, have turned into points for Gonzaga. Uh-oh.
Downs got away with one there, too.
I'm in favor of a guy like Micah. If he's get the ball at half court, give it up, you'll get it back, especially on a 2-on-1 situation. Give it up, you'll get it back.
And Craig, I think what we're witnessing here tonight in Pullman is how Gonzaga is different this season. We can talk all we want about their offensive numbers and how fluid they are and how many points they score, and this is a team that could average 80 points every night that they play. It's on the defensive end that we're seeing the growth in this program and the difference maker in the first 7 games of the year for them.
Yeah, I think this team's better prepared. I think it's better prepared because of the experience and the depth. I think they can handle anything that's thrown at them.
Heitfeld, boy, he's on a roll now, really feeling it. He's got 16. And timeout, Washington State.
Right now, that man right there has got more horses in his pin than the other guy on the other end. That's one big horse right there. Hey, 15.3 points on a team where all 5 starters average double figures. 15 points is quite an accomplishment.
Well, and also it gives you an idea of how important Josh Heitfeld is to this program and has been since he made the decision to come from Clarkston, Washington, to play for Gonzaga. This is a young man that Roy Williams wanted very badly at Kansas, and in his transition to North Carolina, still wanted Josh to follow him to North Carolina. The country knew how good this kid was in Clarkston. He came to Gonzaga. It's taken him time to grow into the potential that he came there with, but lo and behold, in his senior year, Craig, I think he's developed into the player and into the man that he was supposed to when he came here.
Well, his stats are going to speak for himself, but with everything that's gone on in this young man's life, in the injuries and the suspensions and stuff like that, he's put all that behind him. And this is his last go-around. So he's going to give it his best effort, and I think that's what you're seeing in Josh Heitfeld. You're seeing everything the young man can do on the floor. Inside game, strong. Outside game, strong shooter. Good rebounder, good defender. Wants to win for the Zags this year. And what did we say earlier about what Jeremy Pargo say about him? Best player in the country. Yeah, that's pretty high praise from a guy that's a WCC reigning player of the year.
Gonzaga basketball. And we've got a timeout. 3-point lead at the half. It's really grown for Mark Few. We'll be back. And welcome back. Gonzaga has opened it up against Washington State. 6 turnovers by the Cougs here in the second half. Gonzaga on a 25-2 run. Josh Heitfeld with 11 second half points. And when I say second half now, we're only a little over 8 minutes into it.
Well, the Cougs definitely have to settle down. 24 points down. I don't say you're out of the game, but it takes a lot of wind out of your sails. I don't like what I'm seeing right now as they're starting out. I mean, I got to pick up 94 feet if I'm down by 24 points. I got to try to make Gonzaga turn the ball over just like they made us do and convert those points or into points.
Downs shoots the 3. Thompson with the rebound. Well, if you're Washington State now, Craig, obviously you want to finish this game strong and get feeling good about what's in front of you. Popovica drives and got it to Rochester. What do you work on here over the last 11 minutes?
Well, you don't want to get out of what you're doing, and there's a bad A-B pass. You don't throw that pass.
And Dimitri Goodson with the flush for Gonzaga.
I think you do want to stay within the confines of your offense. I think you got to, if you want to try to win this ball game, though, you got to do something out of the ordinary that you're not used to doing. But you still want to stay within the confines or the framework of your offense, which is very deliberate shots for Washington State.
Koprivica buries the three.
I mean, you can't trade baskets, right? I mean, that's silly. You just want to trade baskets with them. You got to get some stops put together on the defensive end, which you're very capable of doing. But then also you got to convert shots like you just see Koprivica make for the Cougs. So that's one way of getting back in it. But boy, you got to pick up the intensity pretty quick. Time's running out.
Stephen Gray glancing at the shot clock. 10 now on the clock. Here's Pargo with it. And now he'll drive on Baines. Ball deflected by Rochester. 3 on the shot clock. Heitfeld, I thought he dropped it through right on line. Long down to the putback, no good. Gray tips it in for Gonzaga.
I lost count. 5, 6, 6 extra shots probably.
Look, and that's not going to make Tony Bennett very happy as he goes back as the charge is called now on Aaron Baines. They were out hustled on that rebound right there, kid. That's not going to make a coach happy.
Yeah. Watch this. Here's the long shot by Heitfeld. What's Goodson doing down there, getting offensive boards? Then Micah Downs chasing. That's 3. Stephen keeps it alive. 4, 5 extra. That's extra effort. Yeah, you don't want to see your team get beat like that. And I'm sure Coach Bennett will bring that up in the film session tomorrow.
And so the next question I ask, when they do, is Downs with the pump fake, went for the dunk. Baines with the block. When the coaching staff for Washington State breaks down this game film tomorrow, and a foul called here on Micah Downs. That's number 4 on Micah. When they break it down, are they going to see a team that they didn't get good defensive effort from, or are they going to look at a team that is so good offensively they just flat out beat us?
Well, I think when I was in those situations when coaches watches the film and see that you're 25 points down, then I think my team's quit a little bit. So I would get on them about that effort. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying you can't let a team like that. The Zags, they just want to bury you. They got that mentality, but you got to stay up and play as hard as you can every time. I think that's what the coaching staff from Washington State will address this team on.
Pargo. Stephen Gray driving with the left hand. Baines is there with another block. He's got 2 here in the last 2 possessions. Koprivica for 3. That's off the front of the rim. Bolden with a rebound for Gonzaga.
See, I think you play right into Gonzaga's hands on that if you take that quick of a shot. I think if you just move the ball from, one side of the floor maybe to the other side of the floor, I know it sounds redundant, but it does make defense move and gives you an opportunity to get open shots.
Day with it. 12 on the shot clock. Pargo open underneath. Now needs help. Got it to Heitfeld, who shoots the 3. And that's good. Heitfeld with a huge second half. And Gonzaga leading it big. So obviously last year Washington State had Derek Lowe, tremendous shooter. Kyle Weaver was known for his defense, but he's also a great offensive rebounder. Seemed to get to a lot of loose balls, get extra possessions for you, keep the clock moving. Where does this team come up with the offense as they look forward to the season now?
Well, I think they got to build with Klay Thompson. I think he's their best chance of a guy putting the ball on the floor and creating shots. But I tell you, I think Taylor Rochester's a big part of it also. I think with his penetration, he can hit those guys open. They just got to start practicing and knocking down those shots.
Deflection by Day off of Rochester, and they give it to Gonzaga. Heitfeld now with 16 points, 2 rebounds. Washington State with 9 turnovers in this second half. Heitfeld has been huge, and Gonzaga leads it by 30. Has that Achilles heel anymore?
No, there's no way, and I think they really expressed that tonight in the start of the second half. 3 turnovers right in a row converted into points, gave them a quick lead, and then they jumped all over the Cougars with plays like that just on their offensive end. So I'm telling you, that's why they're number 4 in the country.
Washington State basketball off the Heitfeld miss. Josh Heitfeld 7 of 14 shooting, couple of rebounds. Missed a lot of that first half with those 2 personal fouls. And now Rochester with it. Forrest traveled, got away with it. Forrest posting on Bolden. Turns and shoots over the top, in and out. Washington State not able to buy a break right now. That ball was halfway down. And Jeremy Pargo walking it up. Washington State 3 of 17 shooting in this half, Craig.
Yeah, and don't just say that it's bad shooting on Cougars' part. I mean, the defense, I told you, they picked them up. That Gonzaga goes to that little diamond press at half court, and it changed the game and the flow of the game right off the bat against the Cougars and got the turnovers going and then a couple of extra baskets, and then all of a sudden you find yourself down. Then you start pressing yourself, and by pressing, you don't make a lot of shots.
Casto with that block there. Bolden just picked up the loose ball and put it through off the glass. 6 minutes to play. Rochester working on a much larger day. Forrest now gets Austin in the air, drives over Heitfeld, missed it. Casto with a rebound. He'll go up strong, and he hits it. Chance for 3. I tell you, you'll see Washington State, Craig, take the next step in the development of this program when they're able to get athletes like D'Angelo Casto to fit into this defensive-oriented program. When they get guys that are that athletic to play 20-minute basketball, this program will get really dangerous.
Well, just as you and I have seen Gonzaga's program grow because of the athletes that they get, because of the guys that played before them, and people wanting to come to play for the Zags, I think Coach Bennett's going to have that same situation. He's getting recruiting classes that will match the athletes that he needs to have here in his program. And you do that by what? Winning basketball games and having kids wanting to come here.
Heitfeld looking for help. There's Casto right there defensively again. Heitfeld will shoot the 3, drops another through. Heitfeld now with 22 points. He's 3 of 7 from behind the arc, 9 of 18 overall.
Well, he's not far from Clarkston, only what, 34 miles? Sure, the family's up here. Of course, the family could see him play anytime.
Sure.
You know, Spokane's not that much further, so. But really doing well tonight against the Cougs.
Capers fouled by Austin Day.
You know, it's funny you said this was a 32-29 halftime lead, and if those people back east were watching this game, you know, it's 12 o'clock back there, right, or whatever.
Well, it's like we've been teleported somewhere else.
Yeah, you know, well, you know, they're probably saying, well, it's a close game, I don't want to go to bed. But those ones that did, when they see this score in the paper tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, before the second half started, you're thinking, wow, this is going to be a heck of a second half. And then it's like we got teleported, like Star Trek or something. We're teleported to some other game. What happened here?
That's what the Zags do to you. I tell you, that's what they transformed the game in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Boy, wouldn't you like to have been a fly on the wall in Gonzaga's halftime to see what that coaching staff pulled out of their pockets and gave the Zags to come out and start the second half like they did.
Josh Heitfeld out of the game, goes to the bench for Mark Few. He's probably done with 22 points, 3 rebounds. Robert Sacre replaces him.
In all seriousness, as much as you and I have seen Gonzaga play, have we ever seen a team this athletic and this well prepared for stuff? I mean, the coaching staff does a wonderful job in preparing them for all kinds of things.
Lodwick had his shot blocked by Stephen Gray, I believe. And this foul will be on Marcus Capers, the freshman out of Winter Haven, Florida. Well, I guess it's the maturation process that's been impressive around Gonzaga the last couple of years with Micah Downs and Josh Heitfeld and Jeremy Pargo, Matt Bolden. I mean, these players, you can almost watch them grow up, and now they come into this really hostile environment with this tremendous poise, and they were not bothered by what happened here tonight.
No.
And then sooner or later, they just put the their foot on the gas, and away they go.
You mean the foot on the throats of the
Well,
Cougars. That's
right.
what they did, and then they just kept pushing and pushing until there was no breath left in the Cougars. I'm telling you, it's been amazing watching this 16 minutes of basketball by the Zags.
Stephen Gray with 8 points.
Yeah, you're not going to see Jeremy Pargo anymore tonight, but the young man finishes with 10 assists in this game. And if you talk about Jeremy Pargo, I think you talk about his all-around game. He's a scorer. He can score for you. He can get the people to the ball at the right time and to the right people. That's what I like about Jeremy Pargo.
Caleb Forrest still playing hard for the Cougs. Great rebound and finish there.
Yeah, and listen to this. When Jeremy Pargo withdrew his name from the NBA draft, it was suggested to him that Gonzaga was a top 10 team with him coming back. Well, Jeremy insisted he should be higher than that, which is completely in character for Jeremy Pargo. Not arrogant,
Yeah.
just confident.
Turnover. Harmeling looking to go inside and then just dribbles over downs and drops it through.
I think David Harmeling's going to have to do a lot more of that. He's going to have to start creating shots.
They're going to have to come up with offense from other places. It's obvious.
Exactly, and I think David is a guy that's been used to the inside ball going inside and kicking out and staying still shooting, which he's an excellent shooter that way. But I think that time you saw him put the ball on the floor, and he's going to have to do that a lot more for the Cougs.
Forrest on the move. What a great basket there, falling away from the baseline. Forrest now with 9 points for Washington State.
And Caleb is another one of the last recruits of Dick Bennett's era, along with Nikola Koprivica and David Harmeling and Taylor Rochester. And now watch D. He's got one man to beat.
Takes it away from Goodson, and then the flush. Freshman on freshman.
Well, it was 6'8"
All right.
post player against 5'10" point guard, and D'Angelo comes up with a steal. And then finishes.
Washington State now on an 8-0 run, thanks to 3 turnovers by Gonzaga. Ira Brown driving, tried to go with the left hand. Sacre with the finish. Well, I tell you what, when Ira Brown puts his head down and makes the move toward the basket, you know there's one thing in his mind. Bring the whole stanchion and basket and everything down.
It looks so good when he goes to, because that's the one thing he does well, is dunk the basketball. That time changing it to his left hand, trying to dunk on 3 Cougars. But that's as good as an assist by Messing, because he's got 3 defenders on him. Somebody on Gonzaga should get the extra, or get the rebound to put back the extra shot, and that time it was Robert Sacre.
Stephen Gray into the game, or actually out of the game. Andrew Sorensen checking in for Gonzaga, the walk-on out of Olympia, Washington. Abe Lodwick been into the game now for a couple of minutes for Washington State, number 5 out of Bend, Oregon, another freshman. And also Mike Hartoon in there as well. And Capers with a bucket. He's a good-looking freshman. Along with Casto, there's another good-looking class that we can see, along with Lodwick.
Well, right now, Inquist and Lodwick are redshirt freshmen. The other 3 out there, Capers, Casto, and Hartoon, are all true freshmen. So Coach Bennett trying to get him some time here against the number 4 team in the country. You know, that's something to write home about, you know. Hey, Mom, did you see me score that basket?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, number 4.
But I think that, you know, obviously there's a few freshmen on this team that are outstanding. They look better than the other freshmen. And Casto, Capers, those are 2 young men I think that Tony Bennett's really going to build another great class around the teams to come.
Yeah, and it was evident in when they first got here, the Bennett's first got here, that was the Cowgill Harmeling group, and that group that gave him everybody what they had to do with last year, or the last 2 years with Washington State.
D'Angelo Casto with 8 points in this game, 3 for 5, 4 rebounds, and still playing hard. Young man out of Ferris High School in Spokane, Washington. But Gonzaga leads big. And welcome back. 35 seconds to play here. Number 4 Gonzaga at Washington State. Ira Brown lost the grip. It'll stay with the Cougs. Obviously the fans started filtering out a little bit ago. And I think that's what Gonzaga did in the early moments at the start of the second half. They completely took the fans here at Field Court out of the game. We didn't hear from them again.
It got quiet. Now we can hear the sneakers squeaking on the floor. I can hear Robert Sacre.
I can hear the whistles.
You can hear the whistles. Look at them. The wind's just been totally taken out of their sails. The hot air balloon has sunk to the ground. With much expectations of this game from the students, I mean, this is a rivalry.
Right.
This has created a rivalry with, Washington State winning the last 2 games. And Gonzaga winning 7 before that. It's been turned up a notch between these 2 teams. And if I'm Coach Bennett, I'm thinking, hey, we've been lower than this before. My freshman, Cal Gill, and them went to Oklahoma State and got beat by 120. No, I don't know. I can't remember what it was, but it was bad. And, I'm sure he's going to say, hey, guys, as bad as this was, we can build on this. We can find something good out of this, especially the first half.
Well, the coaches greet one another, and now the players will do the same. Gonzaga wins big on the road at Washington State. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with more live from Field Court in Pullman, Washington. Number 4 Gonzaga with another win.